Too Hot for TV.
Welcome back to the Too Hot for TV Advent Calendar. We are nearing Christmas. We've been through so many doors of our Advent calendars, had treats and delights, and behind the door today, I've only got Cam and Lee from the Polis Box. Welcome. Merry Christmas to you both.
Merry Christmas, Dylan.
Yep. Seasonal greetings to you and all who celebrate at home.
So, we're going to jump into the story in a minute, but everybody that comes through here, I have to ask them this question first of all. Do Doctor Who annuals or any annuals play any part of your childhood or indeed your adult life?
I would love to say yes to that question, but I am struggling to remember ever receiving. I don't know if this makes me a poorer person for this lack of experience of a Doctor Who annual, but I don't think I ever have.
Wow.
I'm genuinely struggling to actually remember. I think it's because, I had, as I've said before a couple of times from History of Doctor Who, I got into Doctor Who, in the McCoy sort of era, so therefore it was kind of dying off anyway. And I was of the sort of age where I was kind of going, all right, okay, that's the Doctor Who finished then. Meh. And I kind of moved on. But then it's my interest kind of rekindled when 2005 when the modern one came back, and then I went back and watched all the classics in more depth.
It was a barren time for annuals, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
What about things like the Beano, WCW, Ghostbusters?
God, yeah. I was forever having wrestling ones, definitely. WWF ones, the occasional WCW ones that snuck through, which was obviously I was always a bit because they didn't have a TV deal. I was always kind of going, yeah, them. Do I remember them? I don't remember them. But yeah. So yeah, definitely wrestling ones. And also, as I think Lee will be in agreement with me, I'd like to think that being Scottish, your annuals did contain the Bruins and Ur Willie a fair amount of times.
Yes, absolutely. As is our birthright.
What about you, Lee? Doctor Who, Beano, whatever, did they play a part in your childhood? Or perhaps later in life you just decided you really love books for children? I don't know.
I'm glad you added books for there. Yeah, pretty much the same vintage of as Cam, really. We're both roughly about the same age. But I've had the sort of standard ones in my childhood, like your Beano annuals, your Dandy annuals, a Blue Peter annual here and there because my family had pretensions of being middle class. So, and then, the aforementioned Bruins and Ur Willie, as is our birthright, will agree.
I need more on this. What is it?
Yeah, you must
Bruins
have
and Ur
heard of
Willie?
the Bruins.
Yeah, no,
Surely.
I don't know what that is.
Surely.
They must have made
It's
it as far south as Birmingham.
Yeah,
No?
possibly, but they didn't make it to my house.
Have you never heard of Dundee's favourite son sitting on a bucket Ur Willie?
No, I haven't.
Have you? Wow.
Alarming cultural gaps here.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Christ alive.
Right, but we're putting this right.
I've never seen Star Trek Enterprise either.
Well,
Saying that as if it's a bad thing.
how do I explain the Bruins and Ur Willie? If you could take, for the Bruins, consider the fact that it's the Scottish Simpsons.
Right.
And
Good description,
for Ur Willie, it's Dennis the Menace, who is also, technically speaking, Scottish, but with a more sort of genteel kind of childhood upbringing to be portrayed rather than sort of wrecking things and causing general havoc.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much. There was a newspaper, or I think there still is a newspaper in Scotland called the Sunday Post, which has a comic strip at the back of it for, the Bruins, about a family called the Browns, obviously, but the Bruins. And Ur Willie, who's a sort of young lad of about 10 who just kind of walks around the tenement blocks every day, generally getting up to safe mischief. And every year they would combine all that year's comic strips into an annual, and that's what you would get, usually off your sort of elderly Scottish grandparents. Right. I often found
every day is an education with the Scottish contingent of the Doctor Who groups, because so many cultural differences.
Our next appearance on the Too Hot for TV will describe the Beechgrove Garden to Dylan.
I don't know what that is, but I'm there. How exciting. So today we're going to do a story called Peril in Mechinstra, part of the Doctor Who Annual 1966, which was released in September of 1965. So presumably none of us have ever read this before today or the last few days. Good.
Did not know this existed until you showed me it.
So let's jump into the story. So it starts, the Doctor's in the TARDIS, he's escaped Skaro, which is a very rare mention in these books of events that could have happened on telly. The TARDIS is fucked, so he doesn't know where he's going. He lands somewhere, there's nothing on the scanner, pitch black, what could it possibly be? But he is glad the TARDIS has stopped vibrating. He's too tired to go outside, so he turns off the TARDIS, has his dinner, and then goes to sleep. Nan, Doctor Who's a big sleeper in this story, isn't he?
Just a touch, yeah. I mean, he is an old man, let's be fair, but, he needs his requisite nap time.
Yeah. How are we feeling about this setup for the story? Like, are we thinking this is going to be a corking adventure for Doctor Who at this point?
It does start out a little bit quiet, I have to admit. It's as you say, it's not as if the Doctor lands somewhere and is greeted straight away with some elaborate alien vista. It's all just like kind of going, it's a bit dark outside. You know what? We'll just microwave myself a jacket spud, and that'll be it for the evening. What I loved about the intro to this, though, in the first sort of few paragraphs, I think they're trying to break some kind of record, or someone's trying to go for a bet as to how many times they can write the word space-time together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like kind of go, and I know it's like now we have Doctor Who as kind of like the cornerstone of time travel television or time travel stories. So if you say time machine, people know what you mean, right?
Yeah.
Whereas back then, obviously, they were obviously really having to get across the idea about what the TARDIS can do, and it's not just like a big spaceship with wings and things like that. It's something completely different. And therefore, every single thing, in his space-time machine, when he travelled in space-time, and he set the coordinates for space-time, and it's just like, right, okay, give us a break, mate.
And when you've only got, I don't know, say 14 pages to tell a story, it's definitely a good idea to start your story with a nap, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of padding going on in this first couple of pages. I mean, even when they describe some part of the exterior of the TARDIS as an infinitely delicate electronic frame that's never been referenced before, never will be referenced again, and certainly wasn't referenced in the TV show. I mean, this is like, has this guy seen the show before, or is he trying to frantically pad out the word count for this?
I think you are correct on both counts there. I don't think he's seen it. I don't think he wants to see it. And I think he's got a lot of words to get through before the end of the day, and he goes home to eat his boiled meat and potatoes. So our good friend Doctor Who wakes up, and he looks at the scanner and he goes, oh, of course, it's daytime. It was night previously.
Yeah.
He'll never make that mistake again. What an idiot. He goes outside. It's very noisy. The surface is smooth metal, and he's faced with a metal mountain. So we're on a big alien world, the sort of thing you can't do on television, and the mystery's mounting. And then, like something out of a nightmare, approaches him, round, black, with legs and wheels and portholes, submarine/bus, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He said it's like nothing he's ever seen before, submarine/bus. He thinks he's through. He's like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Does this Doctor Who feel like a bit of a coward to us here?
Well, I'll tell you what, judging by the description of his imminent demise, you can't really blame him for fearing a wee bit fear. I mean, it would crush him like a fly. It would smear him lifeless on a metal ground of this weird world. Happy Christmas, kids! Your hero's about to die in the most horrific way possible. And there's no quality control in this story, so we can tell you whatever we want.
It feels like Doctor Who has never seen anything like mechanical in this story.
That's come across as that, doesn't it?
It's like you put a caveman in front of a bus and they don't know what to do and just they're struck with fear.
Oh, all these hundreds of years of time travel, and it's been purely organic matter up until this point.
Oh, yeah, exactly. All them sort of wooden Daleks he's had to face. the environmentally conscious ones. Biodegradable Daleks.
So this monstrosity picks him up and he's knocked unconscious. Second nap of the story. He wakes up and he is so relieved to be surrounded by normal people. He seems so happy and he thinks he's been saved. Now, There's some illustrations in this book of said people. Cam, would you be happy?
Um,
And there's no
Personally-
judgment here.
no, personally, not for me. I think, I think some of the parties that the band Queen had would probably have been of a similar theme to this, judging by the illustrations. I think Freddie Mercury would have been in his element, shall we say.
I love how they're described as husky young corads. Available in your area right now.
Yeah.
But I don't think we know we're on the planet Korad yet, but they just go hungry.
True.
And everybody goes, well, we all have a husky young Korad. They are quite buff men. They clearly, I mean, as we learn, they do a lot of manual labour, so they keep fit. And they wear nothing but belts covered in tools.
Yeah, the illustration is really good. It's like 3/4 of the way down. The picture of the Doctor getting manhandled by a bunch of scantily clad muscle men,
Yeah.
which, if the rumours are to be believed, Hartnell probably would have been totally fine with. Doctor Who and an exciting adventure in a leather bar coming soon.
Yep.
One of these people speak. His name is Draco, and he speaks with a very loud voice because it's very noisy there. Which, makes sense. They want to know who he is. He thanks them for their bravery. They think he's mad for standing in the way of a Grucker, which was the thing that picked him up. They can't hear Doctor Who properly as he speaks so quietly because he's a normal person. But some of them are experts in lip reading. Now, you'd think the lip reading was setting something up for later. It's not.
Yeah.
No, never comes again. Never comes again.
Dropped like a hot jacket spud.
Imagine that. Oh yeah. I mean, including the death in this story. I mean, this is just woke nonsense in 1966, isn't it? Jesus
Exactly.
Christ.
Crammed in there for no
Good
reason.
God, for no reason.
I mean, I did wonder myself when he's described as a giant bearded man with a booming voice in a world of high volume. I instantly thought to myself, we're on the planet Blessed.
So the Doctor's confused. He's like, there's no grass, there's no trees, nothing like that. The Doctor's seen a lot, but he's just judging this whole planet by the bit he's seen. He can't have seen more than like as far as the eye can see. So he's like, oh, well, it's clearly all metal. Is it all metal, or have you just landed in a warehouse, mate?
Say what you see.
So apparently, although he's sort of terrified of these guys, they're all unarmed, but they've got their belts full of tools. He tries to push past them, but they won't let him go. So they say they're going to give him sleeping quarters, food and water, because he looks like he needs a nap. And he will be taken to Haven, where the wise ones live. Even food and drink here is made by a machine. The people have never heard of soil or grass or anything like that. And so the Doctor surmises the planet is a gigantic workshop.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just like, you've not seen it all, mate, but sure.
It's been a bit presumptuous, really, isn't it?
We go to the Doctor's sleeping quarters. The noise starts disappearing. He tells Draco about his TARDIS, and he says millions of years ago it was created by a race of men. He says men, but we'll go for Time Lords. But elsewhere in this annual, and in a lot of other media of the time, he says that he created it himself. So this is technically, I think, the first mention of the Time Lords. So history right here on Korad.
Burrowed away in the 1965 annual in plain sight.
This is what the 2026 Christmas special is going to be based on.
Right, well, wait, hang fire a minute. Russell T Davies is not going to write a story full of buffed men covered in their tools with tools. There's no way.
Absolutely no. No chance. No.
So he calls these people ignorant savages, but he's also worried they might steal the secrets of the TARDIS, which I'm not sure ignorant savages could do, but I'm not sure.
It's a bit rich. It regards them as, like you say, witless mechanical slaves and ignorant savages, despite them having enough intelligence to be able to rebuke his notions of soil and trees and having a firm grasp on food and water production.
Yeah, and clearly with their tools being able to fix a lot of very complicated machines that he finds terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, for a man in reasonable danger and risk of losing his ship to these people, the Doctor does fall back in his default approach of just being an absolute arsehole to all and sundry.
Yep.
He's quick to turn on the charm and it suits him, as we'll find out later.
Absolutely. So he's like, oh, I don't want them to steal the TARDIS. So he falls back on the only thing he knows. He says he's tired and he wants to go to sleep. You've only been here 20 minutes, mate, and you've had 2 naps already.
It's been a long day. A lot's happened.
He can tell they want the TARDIS secrets. They overwhelm him, but handle him gently. So they're firm, but caring lovers. They stitch him in a hole in the wall, at which point he's worried that he's left the TARDIS open and that they'll get in. Sleeps. He wakes up. Another nap. Draco is next to him, and this time Draco's speaking quietly, and he wants to know about the TARDIS. But Doctor Who wants to wait for their masters to arrive, the Wise Ones, and he calls Draco a savage once again. The Wise Ones are not the masters, though, it's revealed. It's the machines. What a plot twist. Doctor Who thinks that's impossible. This was in 1965. We've had Galaxy 4 and the War Machines that year. And this character thinks there cannot possibly be robots that run a planet. This guy's a moron.
I mean, it's not like he's had previous experience of this sort of thing relatively recently.
Yeah. So they've been in charge for so long, no one remembers why they rule, when they didn't rule. But the Wise Ones apparently claim to know the purpose of machines, and they have weapons, which the others don't. But Draco isn't happy with the Wise Ones, and so he wants to rebel. The Wise Ones arrive in the form of, well, they only send one, which isn't very wise.
Yeah.
His name's Peril, who immediately wants to see the TARDIS, where he will learn about it and then destroy it, because there can only be the machines made on the planet. The Doctor suggests a revolution and that the TARDIS can help. Now, silly Doctor, the Wise Ones want to kill him too. So he's fucked it. He's fucked it for himself here, really, hasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, apart from all that, the perfect plan. The perfect plan.
It's very much a kind of like that whole thing where they kind of get onto it. He goes onto another planet and it's like, you're a spy or something like that, isn't it? It's very much like, we can't have him here. He's just a really strange person.
So suddenly Draco sees his chance in that Beran's having a chat with the Doctor, grabs the gun of Beran and turns it on Beran. So this is the first time in the history of this planet anybody's had a chance to overpower a Wise One.
Well, they keep their tools very close to them at all times, so...
Yeah, it's like, I mean, what have they had before? They'll have had, like a wrench, bolt cutters, that kind of thing, heavy equipment. It's not like they can do anything with that to, say, mangle someone to death with, is it really?
I'm saying these boys like being subjugated, dominated, if you will. That's what I think's going on here. They've got some sort of extreme BDSM situation involving fixing things and getting sweaty all the time, and they fucking love it.
Whatever be hanking, they're cranking. That's all I'm saying.
So they take a thing called a Sora, which is a hover pad to the TARDIS. Draco's got his gun on Beran, and he says, I can't kill a fellow man, so you've got to jump off. At which point the threat of having a gun is ultimately pointless if you're not going to use it, right?
Yeah. I mean, a hostage guard does seem very keen to jump to his doom.
Yeah.
Even so much of a struggle to retrieve the weapon. I mean, it's definitely down to the last 2 pages here. They're trying to wrap this up as quickly as they can. And
so, the guy commits suicide again. Happy Christmas, kids. Hope you're enjoying that in your stocking in 1965. Draco turns the gun on the Doctor and asks the Doctor to take him to the TARDIS. The Doctor is shitting himself once again because he's a coward. Then he suddenly decides he can trust him.
So at this point, he's got a bit of a brass neck as well, because he noticed they've moved the TARDIS to another location. And he's like, you've moved my ship. You may have damaged it forever. I mean, no bloody wonder. You look at the illustration at the very beginning of the story. Look at the state it's in. I mean, a stiff breeze would knacker it. It's a health and safety nightmare. The roof's overhanging the side of the doors are opening outwards in an early attempt to bait fans. It's like an shoddy air conditioning in the season 6 prop.
It's not also as if it wasn't knackered before the story even started, you know what I mean? The thing's buggered anyway. There's him kind of go, what, you moved it? My God, it might be even more broken than it already was.
Don't you touch my motor, pal.
Yeah. It's got 3 wheels, but don't touch it.
They get in the TARDIS, the Mechinistras send all their machines after them, and the Doctor's shitting himself again, obviously. They take off. The Doctor isn't sure where they will land, but they manage to go back 10 million years. So Draco just wants to go out onto his world and stop the machines ever taking over. He goes out and touches grass on the orders of Ncuti Gatwa. And he leaves his weapon in the TARDIS. Now, at this point, I'd like to do a reading from the book because I think we're about to witness some of the greatest literature, nigh on poetry, that has ever been written in Doctor Who. Doctor Who locked the controls and the TARDIS stayed in the nothingness outside space-time. He would rest, loves to sleep, and eat, because he loves something to eat, before again he took up his endless wanderings. He glanced round for the weapon he had seen Draco toss back into the ship. Why would he do that? He's gone onto an unknown world. Take your fucking weapon with you. It was nowhere to be seen. He laughed grimly to himself because he knows he's fucked with time. There was his answer. Destiny was not to be thwarted. Then he touched his lips and the smile grew less grim. The weapon, a part of the culture of a far distant Mechinstra, still to be formed, if it was to be formed, had been snatched out of existence. That might mean only one thing, that Draco had or would succeed, and that Mechinstra, with all of its inhuman horrors, would never arise. As he settled himself in for a sleep, a last drowsy smile crept over his lips. Sometimes the frightening paradoxes were not as frightening as one had first thought. And that is how the story ends. That's art, my friend.
Beautiful, beautiful. Sheer poetry, dear boy.
See, it's bringing a tear to my eye.
The Doctor has very much time meddled in the history and affairs of this planet.
Yeah.
And he's just quite happy to leave it that way.
Yeah, I mean, he's dropped like Draco off on early Corad here. And Draco's already stated his intent to shape it into whatever he desires. A man who clearly can't be trusted and is happy to use weapons to get his own way on anything and anyone that stands within his path. And the Doctor's somehow all right with this. A little bit inconsistent characterization here.
It is kind of like the ultimate kind of like Doctor Who ending if you're struggling for everything else, isn't it? It's like, kind of like,
Yeah.
should we just get in the TARDIS, just rewind back to the start, and all of this will never occur? Yes, great. Happy Christmas, kids.
So what are our overall thoughts on this story?
I think it's functional as a kind of Doctor Who story. It's entertaining enough, but it is very much a kind of like, you know, the archetypal 7 out of 10 kind of thing. You know, it's not anything outlandishly amazing, but there are parts of it. It has a certain logic to it, kinda, and it's entertaining enough for what is 10, 12 pages, whatever it is.
It has a charm from a bygone time, which I quite like. But everything in it exists as a functioning point because the story needs to move on. Nothing has a life before or after it has been on the page. Lee, what about you?
But it's a slight story at best, which is understandable given its length. It's only like 12 pages long. But, you know, it's broadly fine. I mean, there's pretty broad strokes going on, but I think it's got potential for a sequel for the Doctor going back and potentially finding out what's replaced Mechinstra. It's far, far worse at the hands of Draco. So it's like opportunity to carry on the story. The only disappointment I will have about the whole thing is the fact that we go straight from this in the annual into the Fishmen of Candalinga. Well, I mean, sorry, Dylan, it's hard not to feel cheated. Why were we not given that one with a name like that? And it'd be topical with Land and the Sea just around the corner.
There's always next year, my friend. There's always next year. So what do we think of the art then?
It's not bad. I think it's very much of its time. And you know, it's not anything. Again, it's like the story. It's kind of not anything really fancy, but it's it works for the context of the story. It ain't bad, but it's you're not going to pin it up on walls or anything, are you?
No, absolutely not. But I've already done a Hartnell annual on this that has already come out, And somebody messaged me today saying the early Hartnell annuals were coloured using a method of wax crayoning on printing plates, which gave them this very distinctive style. It was basically a cheap way of doing full colour, as it meant you only made one proper printing plate for the black. The rest was a wax barrier which could be wiped away afterwards, so the plate could be reused. So look at that.
Okay.
I suppose that accounts for quite the vivid colours in it as well. If it's wax crayon,
Lee, any further thoughts on the art?
Do you know, I quite like this sort of kind of style of Doctor Who art, especially with the comics at this period. They don't try and make it as slavishly accurate as they can possibly get. It is rough around the edges. It's very much. I was going to make the joke that it's very much like a gang of primary school children let loose with the crayons. As we've now found out, that was the case. But yeah, it's got a certain charm to itself, and I quite like the sort of annual stories of this period that they just play fast and loose with the whole thing, because there's no established continuity at this point. They could do whatever the hell they want with it, so it stands on its own separately, and I quite like that.
Absolutely. Any final thoughts on this story before we put it to bed like Doctor Who?
As I said, I enjoyed it. It wasn't the most earth-shattering, changing thing. It's very much a kind of like, it doesn't even really feel like a Doctor Who story, particularly, apart from like the mention of a TARDIS and the Doctor being in it. You could kind of remove that and put any old time machine in it, and it would still just, carry on its own thing without, the Doctor Who license being attached to it. But yeah, there's worse, there's better.
Fair.
That's it.
Fair. It's better than anything Richard Franklin's ever wrote, eh?
Probably, yes.
Here.
There's what it needs is a Swedish villain. But we don't know what accent Draco had.
No, he could be very Swedish.
Yeah.
Lee, what about you? Anything to add before we wrap this up?
Do you know what? I thought it was a rip-roaring success. It had plenty going on in it. It was so exciting, Dylan, that I got tired and I have to have 3 naps during reading it.
It's very exhausting keeping up with Doctor Who.
In so many ways.
Well, gents, thanks so much for visiting the planet Mechinstra with me. I'll be back tomorrow with another guest, another annual story. But until then, I've been Dylan.
I've been Lee.
I've been Cam.
And this has been the Too Hot for TV Advent Calendar. Merry Christmas.
Happy Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Doctor Who. Too hot for TV.
Incidentally, a happy Christmas to all of you at home.
I've only got Cam and Lee from the Polis Box. See, I'll change that in the edit.
It's a language barrier, it's fine.
Welcome. Merry Christmas to you both.